Who? Who? So you Hooties may notice that I'm skipping through episodes 3, 4, and 5 of this season. And don't worry, my Hooties, I have a perfectly reasonable explanation for this. I don't like them. Well, episode 4, Hank Encounters of the Nerd Kind, I like the most of the 3. But Searching for Bobby Fischer and The Best Little Marriage in Texas? Oh, call me a hoot grinch, because I hate them. Both reasons are because of Bobby in some way. I know, I'm starting to have a habit of hating Bobby's plots in this season, but I just don't like them. Now, Bobby wasn't so bad in episode 3, but the plot in episode 5, where Bobby got in a cooking show, King of the Grill, and we have to deal with this woman. I hate her. And this plot is just going to leap into something bad. I don't need to watch the later episode that this continues on to know it. All she cares about is making money, and is just the worst. So I'm going to talk about an episode that is very much Bobby light. Episode 6, Changes, named after the famous 1972 song Changes. And I need to apologize. Changes, Peggy's menopause. Changes, don't wanna see a Bobby plot. Changes, Bill has a new hairpiece. Changes, and has Kahn made him into his pet? Well, how will Hank and Peg when the couple's golf tourney? Okay, so that was basically the short of it. I had to. So with that being said, let's make a hole-in-one with King of the Hill Season 15, Episode 6, Changes. We start the episode with Hank and Peggy playing a nice, relaxing game of golf, and Hank sees Peggy sink a hole-in-one, but warns her not to chase the proverbial green dragon on the hold of Happy Gilmore Wonder, as Peggy seems to have sank another hole-in-one, sending a bragging post, Hank reading out the post in a typical Hank fashion.
Hole-in-one, number sign Peggy Hill, number sign Golf Pro, number sign better than Hank?
Focus on this, Hank!
Yeah, that would be Hank to say hashtag as number sign. Now, I might be wrong, but I think Hank is a little jealous about Peggy making them hole-in-ones. But will she keep on this hot streak of sinking hole-in-ones? Alas, she falls short on the third and channels Happy Gilmore before making a sharp turn into crying. At first, I thought she was going to go full Happy Gilmore, yelling at the ball why it doesn't want to go to its home. Don't you like your home? But it seems to be channeling Bill during the holidays. Back at home, Bobby having dinner with the fam, when Peggy goes from happy to grumpy in a heartbeat when she sees the dishwasher. Kind of like how Hank was acting when he was irritable from overwork, and Peggy in her wisdom drugged him with testosterone without his consent. But that's not this episode. So let's go back with the boys, where we see Bill has a new look, but none of them even care. They're more concerned about Peggy getting a hole-in-one and her sudden move swings. And Bill keeps trying to swing the combo back to his new hair, but Boomhauer gives the honor of saying the name of the episode.
Dango end of her time, man. They're talking about them dango changes, man. You know, got to turn face them strange, man. You really think it's menopause, Boomhauer?
Up! He said it! He said the thing! I like how Boomhauer said the lyrics and Hank took that as Peggy experiencing menopause. But no one is paying attention to poor Bill and his new toupee. If only he had someone to get their attention to the new do-piece. Kahn walks in and asks Bill if anyone complimented on a new hairpiece they bought, and Bill inadvertently told him about Peggy's ailment, gloating that Hank's life is going to be miserable, but Hank just brushes him off, saying Peggy probably needs to be alone.
Hank, can you come in?
When Peggy calls for him taking the scenic route to his house. Poor Hank, taking his time to get home to deal with Pegleg. All he wanted to do was win the couple's golf tourney with Peg. And now he's gonna deal with her menopause. But is Peggy truly in the dark about these symptoms, or has she known all along? I like how when Hank walks in, he stops a moment and watches Peg to see if she's in a bad mood before walking in, suggesting that they not participate in the tournament, and lifts off the side effects of menopause, but discreet Hank way, so that Peggy doesn't think Hank is backing out of the couples tournament because of her menopause. But it turns out she already knew she had menopause, proudly exclaiming that she dominated the first few rounds and dodged the worst symptoms. But the later stages have shown her that she truly isn't the immortal Peggy Hill that she thought she was. However, she is determined to power through the menopause alone, making Hank concerned, especially after Peggy revealed that she put a hole in the wall.
What happened there?
Oh, yeah. Did not get today's Wordle.
Yeah, you're really getting those moods under control, huh, Peggy? Look, my hooties, let's keep it a whole hoot stack here. There's no way that Peggy hasn't at least punched a hole in the wall because she didn't get the Wordle, as she obviously always does. I mean, it's Peggy we're talking about. But I guess the changes have awakened a new kind of anger in Peggy. So she threw those frozen turkeys, as Min says she has for fists, into the wall. But I guess she had more self-control than even yours Hootie knows. Back in the alley, Dale and Boomhauer take turns discussing Bill's Mr. Rogers sweater and slightly off-colored hairpiece. Dale makes the observation that Bill has been talking a lot about Kahn, when, wouldn't you know it, Kahn arrives, showing him a new frisbee, and asks if Bill wants to go to the park before telling him to go in the back seat as his sweater sheds on the seat, making Dale and Boomhauer suspect that Kahn has ulterior motives for Bill. Then, of course, there's this. Also, how did Kahn get Bill on a strict 1,000-calorie-a-day meal plan? Really makes you think Kahn is treating Bill like his own personal companion? But Dale and Boomhauer, or more so Dale, investigate the mystery of if Kahn is really treating Bill as a dog. Let's head back to the Hill House, where we see Peggy running on a treadmill for almost 50 minutes, as Hank brings her a book on how to beat menopause. Hank having to buy a case of drill bits to balance out his recommended Amazon shopping list, but Peggy sees that one of the symptoms is weakening vision, causing her to put the book away and get back to treadmilling. Okay, real quick. Peggy, when have you ever not worn your glasses? Aside from the episode Bobby goes nuts when teaching Bobby a lesson at the end of the episode. And of course, you don't want your glasses getting damaged in that little altercation. Then again, we know how that incident left some unfortunate scarring later on down the road. Why are you getting upset that you have weakened vision? Isn't that what your glasses are for? I really doubt you had great vision before. But this is one of Peggy's strengths and one of her weaknesses. Her pride. Then again, it is Peggy we're talking about. So who knows if Peggy is upset at the fact that she can't read without her glasses, or she forgot that she has to wear glasses. I mean, Hank wears glasses. You don't see him getting upset that he can't read without them. Speaking of Hank, he's nice enough to direct the cold air to go directly to Peggy at night, so she's not sweating as much. as we see more symptoms start to pop up, such as hair loss, and when she's just trying to enjoy herself a nice, bubbly bubble bath with some relaxing Epsom salt, courtesy of Hank, she discovers that another symptom of menopause is
3% of women's feet get bigger during menopause?
Bill, for crying out loud.
I was listening.
Okay, but seriously though, I really doubt Peggy's feet have grown more than they already are. I mean, don't quote me on this. It's not like I'm holding a ruler up to those platter paddlers and going, yeah, they're really growing 3 inches since you started having the changes. But it really shows how worried Peggy is about the side effects and how it's changing her. Which, I don't know if Peggy would have been acting this way if she hadn't have gotten the book from Hank. I'd understand he was trying to help, but I think by adding this book, it's giving her more stress because now she has symptoms to tie to her changes. Meanwhile, we see Kahn's influence on Bill, having him go out to get the mail and giving him what seems to be treats, while Dale and Boomhauer look on, and shaking a can at Bill when he goes for more than one beer, as they have a discussion in Dale's basement on what to do about Bill and how they can free him from Kahn. Dale drawing up plans for what he calls Operation Retrieve-Dotrieve. Not gonna lie, that's a very creative name for a seemingly improvised plan to rescue their best friend. However, things seem to be a little too simple. Like, I can't help but feel there's something more to how Kahn is interacting with Bill, and how okay Bill is with all of this. Could there be more to this that we don't know? And looking at this at surface level of something might not be the best view when forming opinions. Or I'm just hooting and hollering. Either way, you would think that Bill would catch on by now if he was really being treated like a dog. Then again, it is Bill we're talking about. Someone that didn't know that he was getting placebo shots from the army. But enough of this craziness. Let's go back to Hank and Peggy and the couple's golf tourney as they're getting warmed up. Hank getting Peggy a cart that makes her more comfortable for the tournament, and some jeering Karens have to stick their noses in matters that don't concern them. Seriously, no one asked for your opinions. Just keep on walking and take your snooty attitudes with you. You're just mad that you don't have someone like Hank to help you out when you're going through a hard time, like Peggy is. This is why I really like Hank in this episode. No matter what he has to go through with Peggy, he's always there to make sure she's feeling better, or to see if she's okay. Even when Peggy outright throws his plan back at him and refuses to participate, he's always there for her. Even if her ego will more times than not get in her way, which unfortunately is the case here, as she thinks she can walk just fine and carry her bags. But poor Peggy can't even take the first swing without her back causing her tremendous pain. And on top of that, the naggy old birds behind her are still at it, but Peggy puts them in their place.
It's still unfair she gets a cart.
Oh, sing a new song!
You tell them naggy haggies what for. Of all the people to have a problem with Peggy having a cart, you would think that those two would be the ones that are the most sympathetic. However, I think those two are also dealing with the old lady changes, except their symptoms are that they become nagging Karens. Later that night, Hank wakes up from what he thinks is a nightmare when he sees that Peggy is not in bed, and goes in the living room, seeing Peggy in her little scooter with Little Caesar salad in the basket, watching Golden Girls as she goes through a night of insomnia. I feel for Peggy. Insomnia can be rough, But can we talk about how adorable Caesar salad looks in his little basket? Peggy probably got him as a TV companion. And what a show to enjoy! Golden Girls are a certified classic, and I highly recommend that show for anyone. Trust me, Hooties. However, Hank's becoming more concerned about how much time Peggy has been spending in her scooter, rascal, and suggests that they go for a walk tomorrow, so she can get some more steps in and not RPMs. And Peggy gives them a singer fit for Golden Girls.
I did not know I was married to a Fitbit.
That was perfectly timed, I tell you what. And Caesar's still watching Golden Girls even after hopping out of the basket before falling asleep. Really shows he's an enjoyer of some good television. But also that Senior Puppo needs some sleep. So turn down that TV, Pegleg, and also get some sleep yourself. I agree with Hank that it's sad seeing Peggy just give up and just lounge around in a rascal drinking Ensures, watching TV. That's not the Peggy we know, and in some cases tolerate. I know Peggy by all means isn't a perfect character. Everyone that knows Peggy knows I've made it very clear that Peggy has made some very questionable decisions. Some that deserve far more than what she's received, but even I feel bad for her. She is the furthest thing from a quitter, and seeing her in this case makes me sad. The next morning, Hank looks over Peggy's to-do list when Nancy and Min stop by and ask why Peggy hasn't been joining them on their morning walks, knowing that she is going through menopause, revealing that they're also going through it too, but they seem to have their symptoms under control. Min being a little too honest about what helps her, and in front of Hank, and Nancy suggests that he gets Peggy some remedies of the herbal persuasion. You know, a little the green dream, some of that OG kush, some of the puff puff hoot, a little of something that'll make you lay back and go, oh. But of course, we know how Hank is, and even when Min spells it out for him, he's still stuck in that,
but that's illegal.
To which Nancy reminds him that it's only illegal depending on where you get it.
Orgasms.
Man, why must you be you? I can go from absolutely hating her in one episode to then finding her hilarious in another. And of course she has to be unapologetically Min. Like seriously though, what was her end game with doing that to Hank and then walking away like that? It's just something so goofy and so very much what Min would do. But also, the thought of Hank walking into a pot shop and going,
Yes, 1 wheat, please. It's for my wife.
is just hilarious, and you know Hank will do it for Peggy. We find out just how hilarious Hank giving Peggy the green herbage later on is, but right now, I think it's time we head back to see what Dale and Boomhauer are up to. While Bill rakes some leaves, from what tree I'm not sure considering there's so many lush and green and lively trees out there in the background, that it makes you forget that this takes place sometime in November or October, depending on how far ahead these episodes take place. Bill spots a beer, and another, and another, and another, leading to Dale's basement. And look, I know Dale means well, but you can't really expect Bill to not be soused to the gills by the time he arrived to Dale's basement after slamming them Alamos. Dale seems to think that Kahn is treating Bill like a dog so he can show some lawyer that Bill is incompetent and therefore take his house, showing that he's talking to a lawyer as Bill was outside. Now you may be concerned why Dale has Bill's house bugged with cameras, To which I say, you clearly haven't been watching your King of the Hill. I guarantee it that Dale has everyone he knows' house is bugged, except for Boomhauer. But that's not important. We gotta get over to Bill's house and stop what's going on. Or do we? But before we continue that plot, let's go back to Hank as he goes to Crunky Town to grab some prescriptions for Peggy. And the guy running the shop is pretty chill, dude, understanding why Hank is so apprehensive and even making some suggestions on what Peggy should use for her symptoms. It's interesting when the person working at Crunky Town, who I for some reason can't find a name for him, made the guess that Hank was somewhere on the spectrum, but also that he was. But instead of denying it, Hank made it clear that he wasn't there for him, but for Peggy. Now, I'm not saying that Hank could possibly be on the spectrum, but I'm also not saying that he didn't say no either. Hank gets one of everything and pays in cash as we head back to Bill's house while Kahn is drinking tea and reading the newspaper as Bill and Dale go to confront him. However, you would be surprised to know exactly why he got the lawyer and why he was treating Bill the way he was.
I'm finally signing my house over to Min.
To be honest, I was actually surprised when I watched this episode. I mean, I knew it was just a little too simple, like Kahn would be treating Bill like a dog. But the way Kahn explained that everything he was doing was benefiting Bill so that he could be able to make it out on his own. The wig was to help his self-confidence. The little treats he was getting had his cholesterol medicine in it, and he was trying to help Bill cut off on too many beers. In a way, Kahn was just being a good roommate for Bill and looking out for him, even if it was in his weird Kahn way.
He wasn't treating you like a rescue, because in reality, you rescued him.
Now, of course, there is that last part where Kahn said he was moving into a studio apartment, and we do see Kahn in his new apartment, his small, depressing new apartment. But then we see the little plant that Bill left for him as a gift, and would you know it, Kahn moved back in. So honestly, I can just get that part of the plot out of the way because I thought it was going to be a few episodes before Kahn moves back, but it seems that they took care of the plot before the episode ends. Also, the Pei gets the old harass slam. So I don't know if anything Kahn did in this episode is going to have a lasting impact on Bill in the future episodes, but anyways, now that this is out of the way, we can get back to Peggy and Hank, bringing her the greens. By the way, look at Caesar's salad sleeping in the basket. Bro, straight lounging back watching some Golden Girls before falling asleep in Peggy's rascal basket. Now, I don't know about you Hooties, but that's adorable. Almost as funny as Hank walking in with the forbidden hash and not only closing the blinds, but shutting off his phone as he shows Peggy what he got for her. And she's just as surprised as we are that he would go out of his way to get marijuana for her. And of course, they have to have Caesar looking at Hank and listening as he explains the different strands and edibles and what they're for, like, yeah, that's good, but what you got for this little pupper? You know I got them ailments and need that good kush. And before it's even asked, yes, Party partakes in the hoot kush. I mean, you guys seen the Schedule 1 streams, right? Seeing that Hank did all that for her got her to finally realize that she had given up and tells Hank that he doesn't have to fix anything, just to be the one thing in her life that never changes. Not sure if shutting the moo-moo in front of us was important, but it's good to see Peggy finally feeling like her old self again. The episode ending with Peggy not being able to sleep, But now she has something to help her insomnia. She goes outside and has a little puff puff pass version of Hank and the boys with beer with Min and Nancy as they get blitz on the good stuff. Of course, Min would say something like that. It took me a minute to realize that it was Min saying that, but then realized Min usually says people's first and last name. Unless they're Bobby, then she calls him a fat boy. Anyways, that was King of the Hill Season 15, Episode 6. Changes. I would have to say my second favorite episode in the season so far. I mean, it's nothing as good as Care of the Dog, but I like this episode. It really shows how much Hank cares for Peggy, that he would go out to a pot shop and buy some marijuana if it means helping Peggy with menopause. But what do you Hooties think? Let me know what you think of the episode and the review in the comments. As always, you Hooties' feedback and opinions mean a lot, and I can't thank you all enough for all of your support, old and new Hooties. Like this video, share with your fam and cheese, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe today and join the Parliament of Hoots. I can't wait to get to talking about more of Season 15 and streaming more Soulstorm for August month for you Hooties. But until then, I'll see you when you visit the Owlery again, and I give my hoot in the dark. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fam and cheese, and subscribe and join the Parliament of Hoots today. Check out my other socials like Twitter, Instagram, and even Twitch, even though I'm hardly ever on there anymore. And check out my PlayStation Network account. Also, don't forget to head on down to the Hoot Shop to check out all the Hoot merch today. Check out these videos on the screen, it'll take you to more of my content. Until then, I'll see you when you visit the Owlery again, and I give my hoot in the dark.